Alright, what is going on, you guys? This is Eric Hits for the Win. Haven't done a commentary in a while, just about random subjects. Usually I do that on this channel, so if you're new, from time to time I will do videos like this where I'll just talk about game-related topics and stuff like that. This one is kind of hot right now. There's a lot of people talking about reviewers and their credibility towards the games they review. You know, they feel like they can't really trust these people because either they kind of cheat their way through the game, and we're going to talk about that, or they don't finish the games, or they're just flat out bad at games. Either way, you know, whatever the reason, there's a lot of people kind of talking about this because, you know, these reviewers, or the ones in question, have a lot of followers, they have a lot of support, and people who trust them and what they say. So I just kind of want to talk to you guys about this, let you know my opinion and my 2 cents, since, you know, I do have a YouTube channel, I do write for a site, even though we're not, you know, crazy big like these reviewers here, but I do give my opinion out there and kind of, you know, have a following, no matter how big or small it is. I do have some people who have told me that they did decide to purchase a game because of me, or vice versa. They agreed that they wouldn't buy the game because I had negative things to say about it. I've gotten, you know, those kinds of comments before. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. First, I'm going to touch on Angry Joe, because Angry Joe is kind of the big timer out there that people are talking about. He did review Uncharted 4. As he does with most of the games he plays, he does review them. And usually he will do high production, have a whole like 30 minutes devoted to these reviews, and they're very entertaining, and he puts a lot of work into them. For this one specifically, for Uncharted 4, he didn't have that kind of time. He explains that, you know, he was busy, so he just did a regular audio review with gameplay in the background. So I guess in that way, you can kind of look at this review as more serious, more to the point, more about the game instead of the production, as he usually does, because that's why I watch Angry Joe. And I'm not defending what he did with Uncharted 4, because I'm going to talk about that. But I am kind of surprised, and I did tweet about this. I am very surprised that people are very upset about this, because I've never, ever watched Angry Joe for his quote-unquote skill in games. I know that he's not so great sometimes. He's admitted he's not so great at games, and it's just kind of known. But, however, there are people who do watch for his skill, and they do take his opinion serious, and that's where he kind of messed up. Okay, so what happened was he played Uncharted 4, beat it, reviewed it, but during his playthrough, he used the auto-aim. I think that's what they technically call it. It's an option that is basically made for disabled people. Naughty Dog said so themselves. They put it in the game to help those who are disabled, which I think is awesome. I have an autistic cousin. I know people who are disabled. I know it's out there, and there's people who sometimes, you know, they can't move their hands certain ways that we can and things like that. And I just think it's very, very awesome that it's in the game. So, with all that said, here we have Angry Joe, who's able-bodied. He doesn't need to use it, and he decided to do so. Was he wrong for that? Not necessarily, in my opinion. Whatever he wants to do is whatever he wants to do. The problem is that he reviewed the game and talked about the combat. He talked about things in the game that relate to aiming and shooting and just the basic functions of the game. And I don't think he mentioned that he used this feature. So what he messed up on is that he should have had context to it. He should have warned people that, hey, I'm not that great at this game. I put on this function, so take that into consideration. I made it easier. Whatever he wants to say to explain, he should have done that. And I think when it comes to reviews in general, or just even opinions or first impressions and things like that, I think if you're going to make videos like that, or write articles or do reviews where people can see your content and it can potentially be taken serious and have people kind of change their minds or form an opinion based on yours, you gotta give that forewarning. You gotta say, you know what, hey, I'm not familiar with this genre, or I'm not very good at FPS shooters, so take that into consideration. And here's my opinion. You know what I mean? There needs to be some kind of forewarning or something to set people up so they understand where you're coming from. That is something that I always try and do. I'm not trying to say I'm like the best reviewer or anything. I really don't honestly even review that much. But when I do give my first impressions or I give my opinion on something, like Uncharted 4, for example, when I was talking about the beta, I told you guys, like, hey, I don't have a lot of experience with Uncharted's multiplayers. I played a little bit of Uncharted 2, a little bit of Uncharted 3. You know, I kind of gave you that up front. And then I said, okay, with that said, here's my opinion. Here's what I think. So that's very important. And I've always tried to do that, even though I'm small time. I don't even have a huge following. So I could just imagine if I had thousands upon thousands or even millions watching me, I would definitely do that. I mean, because I would be just afraid that, hey, someone's going to know this and they're going to call me out, or just for my own dignity, just to, you know, so I don't want to come out like a fraud or come out like I know it all when I really don't. The same thing with Dark Souls and Bloodborne. I've always been that way. I've always said, hey, you know, I'm still learning things. I don't know everything about the lore, but here's what I understand so far. ... You know what I mean? I'll do things like that. So Angry Joe, I think he should have done that to avoid all of this stuff, all these people confused and upset and everything. Like I said, I don't watch him for his skills, so I personally am not offended by it. I don't think like it's gonna make me toss and turn at night. I don't care. But because there are people who do, and they look up to him and you know, look at his skill or lack of, yeah, he messed up. And, you know, I'm a fan of Angry Joe. I do think he's entertaining. I watch him for his personality, period. And I know some people are not really like that. They like to watch YouTubers based on their skill, which, I don't know, that's different than what I do. Usually it's the personality first and then gaming skill after. If someone's really funny or whatever, but they suck at games, it's not gonna bother me. I'm not gonna, you know, I probably won't take their opinion so seriously, but I'll still watch them. That's different, though, from someone who's just a complete fraud and they're lying and they don't even game at all, which we all know. We have a list on our mind we can, you know, think of people who pretend they're gamers and they're really not. There's a bunch of those out there. And Angry Joe, to me, is not one of those people. He does this for a living. I don't know his whole life story and what his gaming history is, but I kind of see him as somebody who's been around it for a while, and he kind of reminds me of my uncle, who's kind of, you know, he's older than me. I don't even know if Angry Joe is older than me. He seems older anyways, but that's how I imagine him. He just kind of seems like that older brother or uncle or something who had his prime days kind of past him, and he's just doing it for fun. He's, you know, playing these games, and he genuinely forms an opinion. However, he just kind of takes shortcuts. He'll turn on the easy mode, you know, stuff like that just to get through. And there's a lot of reviewers who do that. Dark Souls 3, for example, when they gave out the review copies, I think for like the first people who were reviewing the game, they had an easy mode that was in there until they patched it later. It was because a lot of them may not be as good and they needed to get through the game. You know, they needed to get through those bosses. So that's pretty much confirmed. I know that was going on. It happens. And there's reviewers out there that I feel like they're kind of on the same page as Angry Joe. They do game. They're legit into gaming, but they're just not that good. It's just, they're out there. I know some people kind of have that, they have like a hard time believing that, thinking, oh, how can they review this game when they're not even that good? It's because they can, and it's because they have history with games. They know what they're talking about, and even though they're not that good, they can still review the game. You know, I'm not against that. I've never thought that people have to be MLG or better than me or whatever to review games. I've never thought that. However, if they are flat out lying and they didn't even play the game, or they are just basing opinions off of just stuff they find in thin air, or they're basing their opinions off of other people's opinions and kind of putting those together and to make their own, and they didn't really even have an opinion, they're just doing it to do it, that's where I have a problem. Obviously, those are people who I think they're not legit, they're not really in it for the right reasons or whatever, and they're basically journalists that became gamers, not gamers who became journalists. I know people were tweeting that out. It's a perfect quote. It's a perfect way of looking at it. Myself, if I had to throw myself out there, I'm a gamer who became a journalist. I've always loved to write, And now I'm on She Attack, writing when I can. I'm making videos when I can. And like I said, I'm small time. Not a lot of people know of me, but that's where I came from. And so when I see a journalist who became a gamer, yeah, I'm not so down with that. And that does happen, okay? It's out there. I know people really, really have problems with that. But the way I see it is just like, it's just something that's there. And it just kind of fuels me and motivates me more to be more of part of the crowd that is legit, part of the minorities and the women out there even. It just motivates me more like, okay, well, we have these people out here lying and pretending to be this. I'm going to be somebody who doesn't do that. I'm going to be someone who's just myself, and I'm going to do this for fun. That's just kind of what fuels me. So I don't necessarily get upset by this stuff. It's more entertaining than anything, if that makes any sense. Oh, what else? I wanted to touch on the Doom player, the guy from Polygon. He was reviewing Doom and he put up gameplay, and it was to show off the game, kind of showcase the game. And that's where the problem lies, because this guy was not good at all. It looked like somebody who never played games ever in their life picked up a controller. Some people were comparing it to like a 4-year-old playing for the first time, and it really does look like that. It's really, really bad gameplay. And I don't have a problem with this guy being bad. That's not the issue. The issue is they showcased Doom on the Polygon YouTube saying, here's the first 30 minutes or whatever. Here's Doom. And when he's playing bad like that, it makes the game look bad. It makes the game look clunky. It makes the controls look clunky. It just comes off as a bad first impression. So when people are seeing this, they're going to think things like, oh my gosh, Doom looks awful. It looks hard to control. What's going on with the controls in this game? It's just things that people are going to think if there's no context, especially if they don't investigate and they're not hardcore like us and looking into what's really going on. They might just be some casual player, looking in thinking, wow, this looks horrible, and that's exactly what happened. I've seen many comments of people saying that, and little did they know, the guy was just bad. It had nothing to do with the game. It's just the guy just was not good at it. So that's where the issue was. And Polygon, they disabled the comments and all of that, which I thought was kind of, that's just being chicken. They should just like let it ride out. Admit where you went wrong and let people have a voice. Don't silence people because this guy's upset that people are mad at him. Let him own up to it. I don't know why he wouldn't. But anyways, like I said, I don't have a problem with him or him being bad at the game. He chose to review it. He beat it. That's fine. Let him do whatever. But to showcase it like that, yeah, it just made the game look bad. So it all depends on the situation, and like I said, if somebody wants to review games, they're a legit gamer, they finish the game, or they at least give it enough time, because there's some games that are just online only and things like that, or they don't have all of the modes at first, and then they have reviews pending and things. If they played the game, put their time into it, and they have an opinion, they have a right to that opinion. I think that's cool. But when you have these journalists that are trying to become gamers and they're not good at games and all of that, maybe their gameplay shouldn't be showcased. Maybe they shouldn't be the one to review that game. They should at least have some interest in it, put some context there, like I said, give a forewarning and say, hey, I'm not good at this genre, but I'm interested. Here's what I think. That is something you can definitely do, and that's what I say that they should do. And that's just my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about all of this. If you're out of the loop, don't worry about it. It's no biggie. Just keep doing your thing. If you are a writer or a journalist or even a YouTuber, just kind of, think about it for yourselves. And if whatever opinion you have on this, be the voice and be someone who's different. If you don't want to see the journalists become gamers, be that gamer who becomes a journalist. That's what motivates me and kind of keeps me going. It just keeps me thinking, okay, I don't want to be that. I want to show people what's real, what's really going on, in this gaming community. We're not all fake, and we're not all just trying to make a dollar off of a hobby or a culture that we're originally not even interested in. We just want to get in there because we can. No, I mean, of course, we want to be gamers who become journalists, and that's the ones I think in the end that will be the most successful, and they will have the most support and the most respect. And that's it. Just be yourself, do your thing. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. It's all good. Let me heal real quick. Cool with that? Oh, you're stupid. Oh, your friends are here. Get out. Oh, is this somebody? Oh, it's a team. Oh, no. No. Damn it. I thought it would have downed him. Oh, it was funny. He was hard aiming. So hard. It was funny.